They say that when you make a deal with the devil, you never read the fine print. But the worst part? You don't even realize you signed until it's far too late. Welcome back to the Cabin of Whispers, where the unknown is always just a whisper away. Tonight's tale is about desperation and the terrible price of hope. It started with a phone call at 2:13 a.m., the kind of call that makes your stomach drop before you even answer.
Mr. Lawson?
The voice was sterile, too practiced.
We regret to inform you, your wife's condition has worsened. We suggest you come in immediately.
I don't remember driving to the hospital. One moment, I was gripping the receiver so hard my knuckles went white. The next, I was standing in the ICU, my wife Elise unconscious in a nest of tubes and monitors. She looked barely there, her skin waxy under the fluorescent lights. The doctors had already given up, you could see it in their eyes. I wanted to scream at them, shake them, make them care. But what was the point? They had science, and science had run out of miracles. That night, I sat alone in the hospital chapel, staring at the stained glass windows. The dim glow from the candles flickered, casting eerie shadows along the walls. That's when I heard it, a whisper.
You would give anything to save her, wouldn't you?
I turned so fast my neck popped. The chapel was empty, or at least it should have been. Then, the candles flickered again.
You would give anything.
The whisper repeated, closer now. I should have left. I should have run. Instead, I whispered back, yes. The room lurched, like the very air had been sucked from it. The shadows in the corners stretched and deepened, twisting like ink spreading through water. A shape emerged from the dark. Not a man, but something close. It was tall, too tall. Its frame wrapped in a black overcoat that seemed to swallow the dim light. Its face was hidden beneath the shadow of a wide-brimmed hat. But the mouth, oh God, the mouth, a grin too wide, full of teeth that didn't belong to one thing. Some sharp and jagged, some flat and human-like, others needle-thin and too long for its jaw. Its voice was calm, smooth, like an old friend.
I can help her, but I require something in return.
I should have asked questions. I should have run. But I was drowning in grief, and when you're drowning, you don't ask what the rope is made of. You just grab on. Anything, I said. That terrible grin widened.
Then it is done.
The air cracked like distant thunder, and suddenly, I was back in Elisa's hospital room. My heart hammered. Had I imagined all of it? Then I heard her gasp. Her eyelids fluttered, and for the first time in months, Elisa's eyes opened. Her breathing evened. Her heartbeat strengthened. The machines screamed alarms, and within seconds, doctors and nurses were swarming the room.
Her vitals.
Someone shouted.
This isn't possible.
But it was. Elise was alive, and I had no idea what I had just unleashed. For the first time in months, I brought Elise home. The doctors called it a miracle. They had no medical explanation. Her body had been shutting down, but now, it was like she had never been sick at all. First, it was perfect. Too perfect. Elise laughed again. She cooked, danced barefoot in the kitchen, kissed me like she had before the sickness took everything away. She was herself. But then, the small things started. It began with the shadows. At night, I would wake up and see them move. Not stretch or flicker like normal shadows, but shrink back when I looked at them, like something had been caught in the act of watching me. Then, there was Elisa's reflection. One morning, she stood at the bathroom sink, brushing her hair, humming softly. The early light filtered through the curtains, painting her in a warm glow. I kissed her cheek, met her eyes in the mirror, and she didn't blink. Not at the same time I did. I frowned, rubbed my eyes, chalked it up to lack of sleep. But then she turned to face me, and her reflection didn't move right away. It lagged, like it had forgotten to follow. My stomach turned cold. Elise, my voice cracked. She smiled.
What's up?
I opened my mouth to speak, but the moment was gone. The reflection moved normally again, as if nothing had happened. I forced a smile. Nothing, but it wasn't nothing. because it got worse. The house started making sounds I couldn't explain, with groaning, voices whispering just behind the walls. Elise didn't seem to notice, but I did. And every time I asked her, she just tilted her head and smiled too wide. Then, I woke up to her standing over me. It was 3:13 a.m. I opened my eyes, and there she was, just standing at the foot of the bed, head tilted, grinning. "Elise," I croaked. She didn't answer. She just stared. Then she spoke.
Have you ever wondered
She whispered.
what it feels like to be skinned alive?
My blood turned to ice. "What?" My voice was barely a breath. Elise blinked, and the moment broke. She let out a soft, airy laugh.
Oh, honey, you're dreaming.
She said sweetly.
Go back to sleep.
She slid under the covers, kissed my cheek, like nothing had happened. But I didn't sleep, because that wasn't Elise's voice. Not exactly. It was just a little too deep, a little too layered, a little too wrong. And I knew I had saved my wife's life. But whatever came back wasn't her. By the time I truly accepted it, it was too late. The thing wearing Elise's face was getting bolder. It started small, whispering things I couldn't unhear in the dark. I would wake up to her staring at me, always at 3:13 a.m., always with that grin. She stopped eating, not just less, not at all. I would place food in front of her, and she would just smile, never blinking, watching me with too much patience. Sometimes I caught her talking to the walls, not mumbling, not muttering, conversing. Once, I heard my own voice coming from the other room, but I hadn't spoken. I saw things moving in the corners. I saw the shadows stretch toward her, clinging to her like lovers. And then, the night I heard my wife screaming, not whispering, not laughing, screaming. I burst into our bedroom and found her thrashing in bed, her mouth open in a silent, soundless cry. I flicked on the light, and the screaming stopped. She lay there, still staring at the ceiling. "Elise," I whispered, her lips curled into that grin.
Do you want to see where I went?
A chill crawled down my spine. I don't understand," I whispered. Her head turned toward me the way an animal snaps to attention.
I never left.
She said softly.
Not really. I'm still there.
Her pupils dilated too wide. The shadows in the room deepened.
Come see.
She whispered, and suddenly the room was gone. I wasn't in our bedroom anymore. I was somewhere else, a void of shifting black, a place where walls moved like breathing flesh, where the air was thick and wet, clogging my lungs. And I saw them, the things in the dark, a mass of twisting limbs, gaping mouths, hands reaching out blindly. And in the center, a tall, grinning figure in black, the man from the chapel.
Payment is due.
He whispered. I felt hands wrap around my throat. I screamed, and I was back in bed. Elise was gone. The house was empty, but the whispers never stopped, because I had read the fine print too late. The deal wasn't to save Elise. The deal was to trade places. And now, every night at 3:13 a.m., I hear her voice in the walls, laughing, calling my name. Some deals are never worth making. Some whispers should never be answered. If this story left you with a lingering chill, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a Sinister Sunday story. And tell me, if you could bring someone back, but didn't know what you'd get in return, would you do it? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching Cabin of Whispers. See you next time.